Hello, my absolute favorite people. Andy here. I went from depressed and suicidal to living a life of abundance and joy. If I can do it, you sure as hell can too. And a guy that helped me a lot in getting to this beautiful point of abundance, especially when it comes to sex and dating and relationships, was my favorite person when it comes to this topic, Chris from Good Looking Loser. He taught me so much stuff. I even kind of took a little bit of his name, with my own brand. And this guy was an absolute legend. And so, one thing that we do is we go through some of his old articles, and I like to bring them back up, respond to them, talk about how they helped me, what I learned from them, because his website is down. If you go to goodlookingloser.com, his website has been down for about a year and a half. And so I like to sort of just revive some of his old articles and keep them alive. And this is an article that I love this article so much because he came up with a very crass but very creative title for it. And I really, really, really love this article. So let's jump straight into it. Live proactively. Are you alive, or are you just flushing the toilet after other people take a shit? He even goes on to say this one gets a little gross, but it's to prove a point. Yeah. So, as explained in another article called The Secret to Life, taking proactive action is the most important thing if you're going to bang a lot of girls, make a lot of money, look your very best, and live a high quality, low stress, time efficient, productive, fulfilling life. And even if you're not interested in those goals, like maybe you're a woman listening and you're probably not interested in banging a lot of girls, whatever your goal might be, everything that's in this article applies to any goal. This discussion, Live Proactively, certainly generalizes but largely explains two lifestyle paradigms. Some people proactively take action, create and build a lifestyle for themselves. Other people are simply reactive to the world around them and they never seem to get ahead or reach their goals. I talked about something similar in my Play to Win video course. So I'm talking about this Play to Win video course. The very first chapter is called Growth Mindset versus Fixed Mindset. And I talk about exactly what's going to be in this Good Looking Loser article that we're going to talk about. I say most people in society have like a fixed mindset. So they believe their situations are fixed. They often feel stuck. They feel unable to improve. They feel like they can't change anything. And they feel like things just happen to them. In other words, as this article is going to talk about, they are reactive. Things just happen to them and they just react to them. But if you have a more active mindset or a more growth oriented mindset, then you have the mindset of, I have the power to change. I can choose my own goals. If I'm unhappy with something, I can take action to improve it. Every day, I want to be a little bit better than I was the day before. If I don't like a situation, I'm allowed to walk away from it or change it or do something about it. I choose who I invite into my life and who I spend my time with. So, in other words, a growth mindset gives you the power to craft whatever life you want. The power is in your hands. Again, all of that is in my Play to Win video course. There's a link in the description below to that. But this whole article that Chris, Good Looking Loser, wrote is exactly this topic. So we're going to talk about growth mindset versus fixed mindset, or living proactively versus living reactively. So he says, I strongly encourage you to live proactively, in other words, to have a growth mindset, to take the power and realize that you can change your own situation. You are responsible for your own happiness and your life and what happens to you. I strongly encourage you to live proactively as much as possible. Hell yeah. It's pretty much inevitable that you'll have to be reactive to some things in your daily life. Yep, sure. But the goal is to realize the unnecessary reactive scenarios and behavior and try to eliminate them or slowly reduce them so that you can be investing more time in yourself. Look at this nice little clip art of a toilet. Let's define some terms so we're all on the same page. Being proactive is taking some sort of action towards achieving your planned goals. Like I said in my Play to Win video course, I call that a growth mindset. You're focused on growing, on evolving, on changing things, on taking action. Being reactive is simply becoming a product of the world around you. Yeah, you're passive, you're a victim. You'll hear people all the time talk about things in a victim mindset. They'll go like, my boss is so mean to me. It's not fair. It's like, you're being a victim there. What if you change something? What if you quit and get another job? What if you speak to your boss? What if you do something to have stronger boundaries? What if you learn some stoicism and some meditation and you let go of it and you say, yeah, my boss is kind of a dick sometimes. It is what it is, but it's worth it because I get this nice paycheck and I'm happy. There are things that you can do to take action. So being reactive is simply becoming a product of the world around you. You just respond to the world and actions of proactive people, but you never really take any or much of your own action. Basically, you spend the vast majority of your day simply reacting to what's going on around you rather than doing anything productive towards your individual goals. Again, it's like you're being a victim to life and to other people. Being proactive is taking action to generate force in the world. And if the word force doesn't resonate with you, what he means by that is to just get shit done. You don't have to be forceful. I'm not forceful at all, but you are creating something. You are bringing something to the world. I guess you could use the word force and saying you're being a force for good in the world, a force for good in your own life, a force for good in the lives of the people around you. You're bringing something to the table. You're not just sitting there taking what other people give you. You're not just taking from other people. Being reactive is simply responding or thinking about the force others have created. Yeah. So good question. If I see a hot chick and approach her, isn't that being reactive? So it's more about, he goes on to say, it's more about the intention and motivation rather than your actual reaction at times. Yes, sometimes you will react to things, but it's about being a little bit more proactive in your intention. So if you see a hot woman and you approach her, you are proactively choosing to do that. So he goes on to say exactly that. It's a proactive reaction. So a reactive reaction in this case would be to think about it, but then not take action and then beat yourself up. So we're just talking about taking initiative a little bit, setting some goals, working on them, taking proactive action to make them happen. But sometimes, yes, you will be reactive. You might be hungry and then you react to that by going and eating, but you're being proactive in that choice to eat. And he goes on to talk about this in a second. We'll skip some of that other stuff because he talks a little bit, or he talks entirely about approaching women and hitting on women, and that might not be relevant to all of you, particularly some of you women listening. So we'll talk more about some different examples of proactive versus reactive. So let's say a celebrity proactively makes news by posting something on their Instagram or whatever, and then 10,000 reactive people comment on it. So 10,000 people are basically following that and just being reactive to what the other person said. The other person proactively created something, and all those people are reacting to it. And that's not a bad thing. It's not bad to react, but we're just like, or our lives will be a little bit happier if we take a little bit more proactive action. So to be very clear, nothing in this article that he wrote, and I would never say this either, is saying that you should never be reactive ever in your entire life. No. We're just working on being a little bit less reactive and a little bit more proactive. We're being a little bit more conscious and intentional about how we spend our time and the actions that we take and the thoughts that are in our heads. Another example, you wake up early in the morning and proactively run 1 mile on an empty stomach while watching ESPN so you can lose some body fat. So that's taking a proactive action towards your goals. If you wanted an example of this that would be reactive, that would be here. You wake up late in the morning and see an advertisement for P90X, which is just an exercise, equipment. So then you reactively order it and you never use it. That would be reactive. Or maybe you go to the doctor and you're morbidly obese, and then the doctor says you need to lose weight or you're going to die. And then you would be reactive. You're only taking action because somebody else kind of forced your hand, so to speak, or told you to do it. But proactive would be you start noticing that you're gaining weight and you go, you know what? I don't want to get really fat. I don't want to wait until I go to the doctor and they tell me I'm going to die if I don't lose weight. I'm going to proactively choose to lose weight right now. So you're basically taking action before the external world forces your hand or makes you or tells you to. Another example of proactive. Rather than flying to Atlanta for a meeting with a prospective client, you proactively direct him to a link on the internet that explains how to set up and use Skype. And oh my God, we don't use Skype anymore, do we? We use Zoom. The meeting goes pretty well. As a reactive example, rather than directing a prospective client to Skype with a simple link, you reactively fly to Atlanta because you feel like you have to or you have no choice. You're just going along with things. And back on the same day for a 40-minute meeting. The meeting doesn't really go that great because you didn't catch sleep because the person behind you on the airplane kept kicking your seat and you didn't say anything. So you were just not being proactive. Proactive would be to turn around to the person behind you and be like, hey, listen, is it okay if you would mind not kicking my seat? Just, I've got a morning meeting and I'm flying all the way there and it's like super important to get sleep. It would really mean the world to me. Like, is that something you feel like you could do? And then the person would be like, fuck yeah, man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kick your seat. And you're like, thanks, bro. Like, that really means a lot. Thank you. You have no idea how much you're helping me out. In fact, bro, like, fucking, do you want some of my spare chocolate that I didn't eat from tonight's meal? And they're like, thanks, man. Yeah. So that would be proactive rather than just reactively going along with things. As another example of proactive, you see a hot girl, or any of you women listening, maybe you see an attractive guy and you proactively smile and tell her or him, wait, hold up, I want to talk to you. Tell me your name, sweetie. As a reactive example, you see a hot person and you reactively turn around and follow them so you can get a good mental picture of them in their tight little pants. Maybe the men are wearing some tight little pants too that you ladies can check out. And then you reactively go and masturbate later. So you don't do anything, you're just reacting to that person. But you didn't take any initiative. You didn't say, hey, you're really attractive. I'd like to say, hey, how's it going? You're just sort of reacting to the stimulus of that hot person walking past. Or maybe you see someone really attractive or someone rich, and then you reactively react to that person with jealousy or envy. And you go, man, how come some people get all the looks? It's not fair. How come she's so hot or he's so rich? That would be reactive. But if you wanted an example of being proactive, you would see someone with a Lamborghini, someone with lots of money or someone really attractive, and you would walk up to that person and say, hey man, like, I'm curious, like, how did you buy the Lamborghini? How did you afford it? And he goes, well, man, like, I actually started a business and then I hustled for like 5 years and I just busted my ass. And you're like, whoa, bro, like, what kind of business did you build? And he goes, well, I built a fucking online coaching business like this guy, Andy, that I know. And I busted my ass for 5 years and I just coached people as best as I could. And then I made all this money and now I have a Lamborghini. And then you go, wow, bro, like, if you could give me any tip on how I could do what you've done, like, what would that be? And he's like, well, bro, like, honestly, just start out really small, take baby steps every day, just slowly build and aim to make your business 1% better every week. And then you go, wow, thanks, man. Like, that really helps. Thank you. And you walk away. That was you being proactive. You saw that the person had something that you wanted or that you were jealous of or envious, and you proactively took initiative and said, how can I ask that person, or how can I find out what that person did, and how can I try and emulate them? That would be proactive. Or you see an attractive person and you proactively go up to them and say, hey, you're really attractive. I'd love to take you out on a date. And they either say yes or they say no. So that would be proactive rather than just reacting to it with envy or jealousy or insecurity or horniness and then never doing anything with those feelings. And then he talks out, this is where the article gets a bit funny. Be proactive, not a reactive toilet attendant cleaner. So this gets a little crass, but you've been warned, and he even warned you too. You go to the gym in the morning to proactively work out and proactively hit on some girls in the process. Before your workout, you figure it would be a good idea to take a good morning proactive shit so you don't have to stop midway through your workout. You take a huge dump, flush it down as best as it will go. Jesus Christ. Walk into the gym, proactively wink at a cutie who's on the treadmill. She smiles, or maybe he smiles. You have a good proactive workout. You proactively talk to her or him, and you proactively take their number later. She or he has been waiting to meet you and says that they were happy that you proactively talked to them. That would be proactive. You took a lot of action there, including taking a big poo. Good on you for taking a big poo. All the while, there's some reactive guy at the same gym who thought that same girl was cute. Before his workout, he actually went into the bathroom stall after you finished your poop, and he was nailed with the terrible scent of shit and farts. I told you this got very crass from your super awesome high fiber, high protein diet. Oh my God. Chris had a way with words, didn't he? He reactively complains to his friend about the smell that you left, and he goes to his locker and reactively goes to get his body spray to clear your toxic fumes that you left the poor motherfucker. He reactively sprays his body spray into the toilet, flushes it a few times to get your remaining waste down, but he still has to reactively wait 10 minutes for your smell to clear. After he goes into the gym, he notices the girl, doesn't talk to her, I guess because he's too scared to, and actively or actually has to have a shorter workout since he spent so much time reactively trying to clear the smell from your asshole back in the locker room. Told you this got very crass. All right, enough shit talking. Pun intended, my beautiful friend. You get my point. Be proactive. Don't be some reactive loser that goes around trying to freshen the air and flush fresh shit down the toilet after some proactively person decides to empty their asshole. And to be very clear, you don't have to leave massive dumps in other people's toilets, but he's making a very crass, very intentionally blunt point. This is an extreme example. Yeah, you're no shit. You're telling me, pun intended. But it's a metaphor for how some people live their lives. Some guys and girls proactively create their own reality or shit, and some guys just spend their time complaining and reactively smelling and cleaning up other people's shit. And he's making a very crass metaphor here, but I think that's a really good analogy. You know, some people really do feel like they're cleaning up other people's shit and they're just reacting to other people's shit. And you don't have to be the person going around shitting on people or anything, but you certainly don't have to be the victim who goes around cleaning up other people's messes and reacting and complaining and getting jealous and insecure and unhappy and all of that. You can take proactive action in your own life. Again, not everything can be proactive behavior, but the intentional motivation is more important than if you are just reacting to something. There are proactive reactions and reactive actions. For example, if your car is running out of gas, you should put gas in it. While that's reactive, it's also a necessary, seemingly proactive reaction. So maybe a really good example here to sort of get the fine nuance of this. Being reactive would be like you wait until your car is almost out of gas and then you go, holy fuck, shit. And then you have to race to the nearest petrol station and fill that thing up. And then I've filled my car. Being proactive would be you start to notice that it's starting to get down and you go, oh, okay, I'm going to make some effort to stop by the gas station or the petrol station on the way home and fill my car up. So I don't have to wait until it's the last possible second to fill the damn thing up. So you're taking proactive action. If you are hungry, you should eat and not just starve and die. Eating when hungry is a proactive reaction. Binge eating when you're stressed or depressed is a reactive reaction. Yeah, so we're just trying to be a little bit more intentional about our actions. And as he said a million times in this article, you're not going to be perfect with that. I, Andy, am still reactive sometimes. It's just that I'm working on being a little bit more proactive every single day or week or month or year. Ideally, you should be doing the most productive thing every second during your day. That will keep you being proactive and minimize your reactive reactions. It's hard, but try to keep it in mind. You will find that you're being more productive. Do the most productive thing every second of the day. Hear me out. And by the way, when he says that, as he goes on to say, sometimes the most productive thing you could do is take a day off or have some chill time or hang out with your friends or play video games or something like that. I always try, whoops, what did I just do? I broke my camera. There we go. I always try to do the most productive thing every second of the day. Sometimes that is work. Sometimes that is sleep, like I just said. Sometimes that is have sex. Sometimes that is work out. Sometimes that is just chilling. Like I said, sometimes relaxing can be the most productive thing that you do. Either way, I'm usually pretty conscious of my motivation, and I try to do the most productive thing every second of the day. You don't have to be perfect with every second. I, Andy, am not the most productive every single second, but probably 90% of the day I'm doing something productive, even if that's just chilling and listening to an audiobook and learning and reading and evolving my mind. But I'm almost always doing something productive, but I still have time to just fuck around and play video games and stuff like that. Simply being conscious of your proactive, productive behaviors and your reactive, non-productive behaviors can help you accomplish a ton more. And so I really like this. He goes on to give a whole bunch of examples of proactive, and then later on he'll give some reactive examples. So these are all the productive behaviors or scenarios or situations. Making a plan for the day and following it, that's very productive. Having the intention to write a to-do list and saying, this is the stuff I'm going to work on today. I'll get all this done, and then I'll, have some time to chill in the afternoon. That's proactive. Setting aside a period of time in the day called shut down my brain time. Yeah, like I said, I fuck around and play some video games or watch some YouTube after I've done a little bit of work for the day and been a little bit productive. So during that shut down my brain time, you do absolutely nothing related to work or stress or whatever. This is a designated period of time from 30 minutes to 2 hours, however long you want, where you simply relax. You watch TV, you play video games, you masturbate, surf the internet, do drugs, eat food, whatever. Like whatever is relaxing to you, as long as you're honest about the fact that it's adding to your life. Like if smoking weed or something isn't adding to your life, then you can just cut that out or do a bit less. But the idea is that you productively relax so you can be efficient later on. Yes, relaxing time will literally make you more efficient. Sometimes with some of my coaching clients, they struggle to give themselves a little bit of time off, like a day off or something. And they think if they just work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, they'll be super productive. No, you start to burn out, you're less productive, you're less efficient. And when I encourage them, or when we encourage them to take a day off and actually have some time off, they find that in those 6 remaining days, they actually get more done than they would have if they just worked 7 days straight, because you feel happier, you're more relaxed, you're more chilled and recharged. More examples of proactive things: going about your day and hitting on screening the girls you want or the guys you want, doing what you want when you want. Yeah, like I say this all the time. Like so many people will follow rules of what you're supposed to do. I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to say that, I'm supposed to do what other people want. There's a really good book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And it was written by a woman who did like end of life care. She was like a nurse for people, like end of life nurse or carer, I guess, for people that were dying. And the absolute number one regret, the top regret, is I wish I had lived a life more true to myself instead of the life others wished of me. That's this, doing what you want, rather than what other people expect of you. There are some obvious caveats, like try and do things that are kind and compassionate to other people, like don't fuck other people over, or that comes back around to you. That's an obvious statement. But other than that, yeah, do what you want rather than what other people tell you that you should do. You'll even hear in my content all the time, I don't use the word should. I don't tell you what you should do. In fact, I say the opposite. I say, what do you want to do? And that is the first question. Any of you that have done coaching with me, the very first question that I ask when you sit down with me is I say, hi, I read through your coaching inquiry. I read through all the notes that you wrote. What would you like from me? What do you want? And we start with that. I literally start with that question every single coaching call. What do you want from me? What would you like from me? How can I help? Like, what do you want? And sometimes people will say, Andy, what should I say to this girl? Or what's the right thing to do? Or how should I do this? And I say, it's not about what the right thing is. What do you want? You tell me what you want, and then we're going to reverse engineer that. So always start with what you want, and then reverse engineer it and figure out the baby steps of how to get there. More examples of proactive things: going to the gym, hitting it hard, and getting out of there. Leaving your job and doing something you're actually interested in. Yeah, that's a big one. How many people hate their job and they just feel passive and they feel stuck and they feel like they can't change, and they're like, I can't change it, I got bills to pay. And it's like, that other jobs would also pay the bills. You can just work on your resume while you stay at your current job, build up your resume over the next 3 months, then start applying or researching to other jobs, and then start applying to them, start doing some interviews. And then before you know it, you have another job. You can branch swing. You don't have to quit your job and then be homeless or something for the next couple of months. Get another job lined up and jump ship to that one. One final example of proactive: banging girls first and getting to know them afterwards. After you have sex with a girl, the barriers drop and you get to know each other. To be very clear, I still like to get to know people before I have sex, but this is more an example of like, if you want to have sex, then have sex, rather than feeling like you have to go on 5 dates and get to know someone. At the end of the day, with dating, do what you want and what the other person wants. Like, come together, both be very honest about what you're looking for, what you both want. And then if you both want the same thing, then do that. That's kind of what this is saying. It's saying, live the kind of dating or sex or relationship life that you and the other person want. And if the other person doesn't want what you want, by the way, then just say, hey, that's beautiful. I hope you find what you're looking for. I'm going to go talk to the next person and see if they want what I want. All right, examples of non-productive scenarios and behaviors, or in other words, reactive ones. Having very non-specific goals. This is probably going to be a call out for a lot of you. Like, I want to meet girls. How many of you, that's your current goal? You're like, I just want to get laid. It's like, what does that even mean? That's so vague. Or I want to make money. Like he goes on to say, I want to make lots of money, without a plan, and you're just winging it and hoping something good will happen. This is a lot of you. Like, a lot of you pause on this and think about this. Do you have non-specific, very vague goals? I know a lot of you do, because some of you come to the coaching with very vague goals and you go, I just want to feel like I'm worthy and I'm lovable. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, we got to set some tangible goals, son. Like, maybe you're going to practice self-love and gratitude every day to start working on that self-esteem. Maybe you're going to go out and make some friends, and then they can show you, hey, you're lovable, you're worthy, and all of that. Maybe you're going to write a list of 50 things about yourself that are lovable or likable, so you can start building that self-esteem. Maybe you need to read books like I Need Your Love, Is That True? So you can work on that. Maybe you need to read Extreme Ownership, blah, blah, blah. But we need a plan of action. We can't just be sitting there saying, I want to feel like I'm worthy, or I want to meet some women, or I want to make money. That's vague as fuck. You'll never achieve that. You need to set some sort of goal, some sort of tangible goal, maybe some sort of deadline, though you don't have to have a deadline, but at least some daily action that you're going to take. You need some baby steps that you're going to work on every day. You need to make it more serious or more structured than just, I want to make lots of money, or I want to just wing it. So yeah, any of you that this relates to right now, this is definitely going to be calling out some of you. Maybe hit the pause on this podcast, have a think about some actual specific goals. And if you're still not sure if the goals are like good, so to speak, like if you're not 100% sure about the goals that you come up with, leave them in the comment below and I'll respond, and other people will respond, and we'll maybe give you a little feedback and say, hey, like, great goal, or maybe try this goal instead, or maybe try tweaking it a little bit. But yeah, if this is you, pause the video, leave a comment below and tell us what specific goal you want to work on. Like, I want to go on dates with 5 different women, or I want to make my first $1,000. Like, make it a little bit more specific and come up with some sort of plan of how you're going to start making it happen. More examples of being reactive. Overuse of social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even YouTube. If you feel like you're sort of sitting around just watching all of my videos, but you're not really going outside and taking action, then pause this video, or at the end of this video, go outside and say hello to a woman. Or if you're a woman, go say hi to a guy, or go to a gym, or go do something to take some sort of baby step, even just the tiniest little step towards your goals. Don't just sit on social media getting yourself all insecure, because that's what a lot of social media is. You may as well call it in-social or unsocial media, or insecure media. Don't sit on there just feeling shitty about yourself, which is what a lot of people do. Be a little bit more proactive. I like to say, this is something I encourage everybody. My personal philosophy with social media is I only use social media to put my own content out there. That's me being proactive. I'm proactively using social media to help people and put my shit out there. But I don't flick through and fuck around on Instagram. In fact, I have lots of apps that I use to block the feed on Instagram, to block the feed on Facebook. In fact, this is what my Instagram homepage looks like. When I go to Instagram.com, it just comes up with a motivational quote. How did I do that? With this beautiful extension for Chrome and Firefox called News Feed Eradicator. And look, it can do all these different websites, and it can do a bunch more if you install like an extension or whatever. And I believe my Facebook is the same. Yeah, look at my Facebook. It literally just has a nice little quote here. Look at this. So you can do this for all your social media apps. This is what I do so that the little news feeds can't get me. And when I go to YouTube, look at my YouTube homepage. Nothing on there. No recommended videos, no trending bullshit, nothing. No fucking algorithm. I have no algorithm on my YouTube channel. And so if I want to watch a video, I click the search button and I type in blah, 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 blah. And I watch whatever the hell came up. Holy shit, what the fuck is this? But I watch whatever I choose to watch. But my YouTube homepage is completely and utterly blank. And for that, I use an extension called Unhook for YouTube. But there's all these different sort of things that you can use. So make social media work for you, rather than you being a slave to the algorithm and to the insecurity that can come up from watching other people that are ahead of you, or from indulging in all the drama of things like Twitter and, Instagram and Facebook, where people just complain and get angry and upset and all of that sort of stuff. That's being very reactive. Choose to use social media in a proactive way, either by following people who want you to improve your life, like me and a bunch of other content creators out there. Those are about the only videos that I watch. I watch either educational videos or some entertaining videos, as long as they're positive and there's no negativity in them, or I will research stuff that I'm trying to improve, and I'll just watch a bunch of that shit that I'm specifically watching for like educational purposes, and then I use it for my own, putting my own content out there. Something else that's very reactive is pornography, when you're not seeing anyone at all and you're just watching it and feeling bad and feeling sorry for yourself, or feeling desperate and horny and sort of like an incel. Becoming overly obsessed with fantasy sports, guilty. Watching shows on television that you aren't 100% interested in, yeah, or letting the algorithm on things like YouTube or TikTok or any of that shit, Instagram, where you're just like flicking through and just watching the shorts, watching the short form content, but you don't really give a fuck about it. You're just watching it because you're killing time. That's very reactive. You're just watching whatever the app tells you that you should watch. Smoking weed during the day on a regular basis, answering your phone and texting back when you're busy. Turn your fucking phone off. Honestly, one of the best things I ever did for myself was turn all the notifications on my phone off. Every notification on my phone is turned off except for my calendar. And in my calendar, I only put important things like you have a coaching call at this time. You have a coaching call at this time. You got a coaching call at this time. That's all that's in my calendar. Other than that, my phone is empty of notifications. No app, no text messages, no Telegram, no WhatsApp, none of that shit. None of that stuff gives me a notification. And so if I want to go and text people, I have to intentionally get my phone and intentionally go into that app and go, okay, who has messaged me? I'm going to reply back to them. So that's me being proactive. I do the same with my emails. In fact, I don't even answer my own emails. Imogen does. So that's being proactive rather than responding to every text as soon as someone messages you, feeling like you're desperate. As a similar example with online dating, sometimes you might feel yourself being very reactive to the online dating app. Like you're just sitting there checking your phone constantly every 5 minutes, responding to someone and then being like, fuck, like why won't this person respond back to me immediately? You can take a proactive approach to it and say, okay, I'm only going to check my app, like check the online dating apps in the evening and the morning. And other than that, maybe once during the daytime if you want to, like 3 times a day if you want to. And I won't check it other than that. And you can use apps on your phone, like iPhone has these, Android has these, where you can disable the app during certain times. So you can say, I can only look at it from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Outside of that window, I cannot look at the app. And that's something that I did myself back when I was going really hardcore with dating and online dating. I felt like I was just being reactive to the dating app, and I was getting sucked into that feeling of like, I have to respond to people. I have to get a match. I have to get someone to go on a date with me. And so I proactively chose to set this stuff up so that I could only check the apps during certain times. More stuff that's reactive, getting addicted to cigarettes. You could almost say like getting addicted to anything that's maybe not super helpful for you. Cigarettes are a pretty obvious example. Celebrity gossip, gossip in general. Yeah, I was just going to say any gossip in general, like talking about other people's lives and not in a way where it's benefiting you. Like it's one thing to talk about someone else's life and be like, I don't know, what's an example? Like maybe you talk about a friend of yours and his life and what he's going through, but you're viewing it through a very like educational point of view. So you're like, this friend of mine is currently going through some stuff and he's going through a messy like breakup with his girlfriend. What can I learn from this? Okay, here's some things that he's doing that maybe I think he could be doing a little bit better, and he's doing his best, but like maybe if I was going through that situation, I'd do this a little bit better. What are some things that he's doing really well? I think he's handling himself really well. I think he's being super respectful. I don't think he's getting too emotional. Okay, that's something I could learn from him. That's like not gossip. That's more like you talking about someone else's situation and then trying to learn from it. That's not what we're talking about when we talk about being reactive and gossip. We're talking more about like, did you hear what like Sarah did? Oh my God, Sarah's such a slut. Oh my God, she's such a bitch. Like, why is she like that? Oh my God, she's so fugly. Like, I probably just made a whole bunch of you fucking cringe there with that accent. But yeah, where you got that, meme of I'm going to say the meme, like a basic white bitch, I think they call it, where you're just like gossiping to just complain about people. That's being very reactive. You're just reacting to other people. Same thing as, I think he talks about this later on. If you're just like leaving negative YouTube comments on someone else's video or complaining to someone, that's you just like reacting to that person. Instead, be proactive and say, if I don't like this content, I won't fucking watch it. That's me being proactive. If I don't like this person, I will click the little button. You can do this on the YouTube homepage. Click the little ... button and click I don't want to, or like, don't show me this channel anymore. And then you'll never fucking see that channel ever again. You can effectively block someone's channel. Do that instead of being reactive and going, man, I hate this person. Why is this person like this? That person is like that because they're fucking like that. You're probably not going to change their mind with your shitty little YouTube comment. And so as best as you can, try really hard. I know that sometimes like you get caught up in it and you're emotional and all of that, but try really hard to not be so reactive and just go, yeah, I don't want to watch that person's content. Cool. I'll move on. Or I'll keep watching it and I'll keep more of an open mind, or I'll take a deep breath, or whatever you feel like you need to do. Reality TV is also very reactive. Like we said, spending or wasting your time in a job that you hate, then dying years later. Yeah, so the book that I mentioned called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, this was another one of the top regrets that people have. I wish I had let myself be happy. And then there's another one. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. In other words, I wish I'd actually fucking enjoyed my job and not worked this job that just grinded me down and took everything out of me, and I didn't really like it. Politics. Oh my fucking God, yes. Like, how many people get really caught up in left versus right, liberal versus this, like progressive versus conservative, like all of this nonsense, Democrats versus blah, blah. Like, who cares? Like, it's just an absolute clusterfuck of narcissistic ego and opinions, 50-cent opinions, and people screaming them at each other. And then going, gee whiz, I wonder why I feel stressed, because you just spent all your time seeing yourself as the victim and seeing the other person as Hitler. Yeah, that doesn't feel very nice. So politics in general is very reactive. If you want it to be proactive, go and actually make some change in the world. Go and actually do something. Pointless information searches on Google, internet addiction, e.g. reading too much, goodlookingloser.com, or watching too many of my videos without taking action. As a nice little rule, I generally say for every like 1 hour that you watch my content, spend like 1 hour taking some sort of action. So you can even kind of combine those. So if you're going to the gym right now, just listen to my videos when you're in the gym, or anyone else that you're listening to, anyone that you're taking advice from, just do that while you're at the gym. Or if you're going around outside learning how to hit on women, have it in one earphone. Just have my podcast or something, and then pause it when you see a cute girl, pause the thing, and then go up to her and be like, hey, what's up? You know, you're really cute. You know, whatever it is that you're working on, try and spend 1 hour with research and education and all of that stuff for every 1 hour that you take action. Like, it's okay if that ratio isn't perfectly that, but some people have a crazy ratio where they're like, you know, researching or watching hundreds of my videos and they've never taken any action. And sometimes at the start, you might feel like you need to watch a bunch of content to work up the courage, but that's you just procrastinating out of fear. That's why I say take a tiny little baby step. You don't need to work up the courage to take the tiniest little possible baby step ever. That's why I celebrate tiny little wins that people do. You know, check out this video right here. This guy made his first dollar, and I talked about how one of my coaching clients literally went out and made $1. And $1 might seem like a tiny little bit, but he was putting all this pressure on himself and procrastinating and thinking he needed to do more research and figure out how to make a business and figure out how LLCs work and how do I do my taxes and what kind of business would I make and how do I give value, and I got to read all these business books. And I was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Go make $1. Go up to strangers on the street and be like, can I please have $1? And then when one person gives you $1, congratulations, you just now started making money outside of your job. And so I got him to just take action. And so if any of you are sort of feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the big goals that you have, break it down into the tiniest little baby step. If you want to start making money, like if your goal is making money, go outside and ask a stranger for money and get $1. Congratulations, you've now made more money than you had previously, like outside of your job. If your goal is to start talking to women, but you're too scared and you think you need to watch 10,000 of my videos to work up the courage, no, walk around outside and just look at women and try and smile at them. If you can't do that, walk around outside thinking about talking to women. That is you taking more action than just watching 20 of my videos and not really doing anything. So yeah, try and take as much action as you possibly can. Roughly 1 hour of action for every 1 hour you watch my videos. Another reactive, non-productive thing is reading or debating. Fucking hell, man. Reading or debating dating, sex, and all that kind of stuff, but not applying it. Yeah, how many people It's not a lot of you guys and girls because most of you understand this point, but every now and then someone new to the channel will come in and write this long ass like comment on one of my videos, basically trying to argue or debate. And it's so unbelievably clear from the comment that that person hasn't really gone out and had a lot of relationships or any relationships, or they haven't actually talked to the opposite sex. They haven't talked to their fellow human beings. And they're just debating because they read something from some other so-called expert or something. And so instead of just sitting around debating and talking about what the right way to do things is and who's correct, is this person's method best or is that person's method best? A lot of different methods work. There is no one size fits all way to do relationships or dating or sex. All that matters is that you go out and talk to people that you're interested in and you improve yourself along the way. If you're not going out there and taking action and actually applying the stuff that you're learning, then your knowledge is just theoretical. In other words, it's useless. Buddha had a couple of really good quotes on this that I really like. The first one is, an idea that is developed and put into action, doing something with it, is more important than an idea that exists only as an idea. Another one, to be idle is a short road to death. And by idle, it just means not taking action. To be idle is a short road to death, and to be diligent is a way of life. Foolish people are idle. Wise people are diligent. In other words, wise people take action. Here's another one. Ardently do today what must be done. Who knows? Tomorrow, death comes. Yeah, all the time sitting around just watching my content or reading, or heaven forbid you go on other people's channels and debate shit. Jesus Christ. That's not the same as actually taking life by the horns and getting stuff done. On that note, on a similar note, criticizing other people is very reactive. Anytime that you spend shit talking someone else or pulling them down, and it's okay to do that sometimes. Try and do it as little as you can, but, none of us are perfect, including me. I sometimes criticize other people, but try and reduce it as much as you possibly can. The less judgmental you can be and the less time you waste criticizing other people, the more time you can spend actually building your own life. And when you're at a point where you're really happy with your life, you don't feel the need to criticize other people. Criticism, like active criticism, rather than helpful advice that was asked for. We're talking about criticism that was not asked for. You just start criticizing someone when they didn't ask for your opinion, they didn't ask for your advice, they didn't ask for your feedback. That type of criticism only ever comes from an insecure place. When you're really happy with your life, all that you want to do is just spread the love around. All you want to do is go and lift other people up. You don't want to push someone else down. You can't even imagine the idea of criticizing someone because you're like, that wouldn't feel good. I'm sitting at the top. If I criticize the person down the bottom or anyone else beneath me, that would be punching down, as the saying goes. No, I want to lift people up. Other things that are reactive, talking at length about other people that have no role in your life whatsoever. Yeah, I won't point out the comment, but there was a comment left on a video like last week, and he was basically, I guess, complaining and criticizing somebody else who'd taken action and had a really big win. And this guy was like criticizing that person and kind of like, yeah, I'll just phrase it like that. He was criticizing. And I wrote him a really long reply, trying to give him lots of advice and lots of love and all of that. And I was very gentle with it. But I very gently said, you left this long comment criticizing this guy who's taken action and done a whole lot of stuff and done something really amazing, when this guy has like no role in your life whatsoever. Like, why do you care what action he takes? Like, why do you care if you would have done it differently and you think what he did is wrong, even though what he did wasn't wrong? But like, you think that it's wrong and bad and he should have done it differently the way that you would have done it. This guy has no impact on your life whatsoever. Like, he's a stranger to you. Like, why do you care what he's doing? And so if you're able to understand that other people have different ways of going through life than you do, other people have different preferences and values and likes and dislikes and all of that, if you're able, in other words, to accept that some people are going to be different than you, and you're not going to try and change them, then man, your life is so much more peaceful. And then you can take a proactive approach to life rather than going around just reacting to everything that everybody else does. More reactive stuff, formulating what if scenarios to talk yourself out of doing something productive. Yeah, in other words, like living in fear. I talked about this a lot in the Play to Win video course. There's a couple of chapters that are relevant, but this one especially, overcoming fear, limiting beliefs, and self-doubt. I literally talk about how to overcome all of your fears and all of that sort of stuff, and not sit there formulating what if scenarios. Like, what if this goes wrong? What if something bad happens? I have like a whole bunch of like strategies in this chapter of how to deal with your fears and how to move past them and how to not be crippled by that sort of what if anxiety. Other things that aren't very productive, guilt tripping yourself. Yep, I've talked about that many times. I've shared this many times, the map of consciousness. It's basically a hierarchy of emotions, you could say. The emotions or the states of being that are at the very top are obviously much more productive. You walking around feeling lots of love, lots of joy, lots of abundance, you feeling at peace with yourself and who you are in your life, like feeling completely happy. It's obviously a lot easier to take action versus if you're right down the bottom, down in guilt or shame or apathy. Apathy sort of being like depression. When you're down the bottom here, it's pretty fucking hard to go out and talk to women or go to the gym or build a business. It's very hard to build a business if you're full of guilt and shame. And so if you spend all your time guilt tripping yourself, you're robbing yourself of motivation and the joy, again, joy being right at the top, the joy of taking action. So as best you can, try not to guilt trip yourself. And if you do guilt trip yourself, you don't then need to guilt trip yourself for guilt tripping yourself. I have so many videos and things like that on guilt tripping and letting go of that and being more loving and being more kind and compassionate. Again, in my Play to Win video course, there's an entire chapter on the map of consciousness. This thing I just showed you here on the screen. There's an entire chapter on how to move out of guilt and how to be happier. I also have an entire chapter on how to move past failures and setbacks and stress and guilt, and how to move past things if you fail or any of that stuff, how to stop guilt tripping yourself and how to embrace failure and see it as a learning lesson. Other things that are not super productive and a little bit reactive is daydreaming. And when he says daydreaming, he doesn't mean just like sitting there and dreaming about goals and thinking about goals and planning for the future. He means daydreaming in that sort of passive way where you never really take action and you sit around going, I wish that I could just be someone other than myself. I wish I could teleport myself to a better future. I wish I could just live a better life, but you're not really taking any action towards it. So daydreaming can be incredibly beautiful. I spend a lot of my time daydreaming and then I take action to work towards that beautiful dream. So keep the dream, just add in a little bit of taking action as well. Goes on to say passive aggressive nice guy behavior. And when he says nice guy, he means doing it in that way where you are nice, but you're expecting a lot in return. You're like, I've been nice, so you better give me your pussy. I've been nice, so you better give me money. Like you're doing it in that sort of contract way of like, I'm going to be nice to you and you better give me something back in return. That's not nice. I actually have a couple of videos on this. I have 3 videos on my YouTube channel. So if you just search my channel for the word nice, there's this one here, nice guy syndrome versus being a jerk. This one here, don't be a nice guy, instead be a decent guy. And this one here, Andy has nice guy syndrome, ? And look at that beautiful hat in that thumbnail. Holy shit. What a gorgeous hat I was wearing. So I've talked about this quite a bit. Another one is reading too many books. And when he says that, he means without taking action. I myself read a metric fuck ton of books. I read so many books. I probably read 50 to 100 books a year, maybe 50 books a year. I'm reading a lot of books. Actually, it might be more than that. I probably finish more than 1 book a week. Yeah, it's probably more than 50 books a year. Arguing with reactive people. Yeah. Like somebody else being reactive and grumpy and angry, and then that makes you angry, and then you guys bounce off each other, and before you know it, it's fucking World War II, and you two are screaming at each other. Another one, staying in school for the rest of your entire life. Yeah, as a way to avoid. Actually, funnily enough, this relates to one of my cousins. Many years ago, he stayed in school for literally, like university, for 10 years. I shit you not. He got multiple diplomas and multiple freaking master's degrees and doctorates and all of this stuff. And we had several, his family had, I even said something to him a couple of times. We had several interventions where we're like, bro, do you actually want to be at university, or are you just avoiding getting a job? And he was quite depressed. He was morbidly obese. He was very unhappy. And yeah, he was just avoiding going out there and living life. And eventually, the moral, the end of the story is he ended up going, you know what, I am unhappy. I'm depressed. And I gave him some advice because I'd been depressed, obviously, when I was younger. He ended up changing his life. He lost a ton of weight, like a fuck ton of weight. He now has a girlfriend. I think they're probably going to get married soon enough. He's now working in his industry. He's been working in his industry for like 5 or so years or 10 years or something. He's super happy. So yeah, he ended up turning it all around and doing something. But this is more referring to if you're in university for like 10 years because you're scared to actually go out and get a job or something like that. All right. Here's an example of the most reactive day ever, inspired by a true story of a kid I knew in college. And he's called this guy Andy Pindick. And it's funny that he's used the word Andy because now it's going to be funny when I read this out. So every time he reads out the word Andy, every time I read out the word Andy, I'm going to say Andy, but not me. So you guys know he's not talking about me, okay? So you don't get all confused. Andy, not me, wakes up in the morning and hops on Facebook since that's what he does every morning. The girl Andy, not me, is trying to bang just posted pictures of her weekend. In 6 pictures, Andy, not me, notices that she's next to this other guy. And Andy, not me, reactively clicks on the picture to see who this guy is. His name is Eric Martin. Wow, what a cool name. And Andy, not me, reactively thinks to himself, what a douchebag. Imagine thinking that about another human being. Hey, that's what we're talking about, reactive. It's like, you don't even know this guy and you've literally just labeled him a douchebag. Like, holy fuck, bro. What if this Eric Martin guy turns out to be like the most amazing human being in the entire world? What if he like feeds the homeless and shit? And he's like fostered children or something, and he's just the most loving guy ever, and he works as like a fucking firefighter or something. And then this Andy, not me guy is just like, Eric is such a fucking douchebag. And it's like, bro, who's being the douchebag in that situation? You just judged someone you don't know. So yeah, that would obviously be very reactive to judge someone you've never met and you've just looked at a couple of pictures of the guy. So Andy, not me, reactively thinks to himself, what a douchebag. Why do all these douchebag guys get hot chicks? Yeah, they should get with a really nice, friendly, non-judgmental person like you, Andy, not me. And that might sound like I'm judging Andy, not me. So I will rephrase that in a non-judgmental way and say, Andy, not me, is doing his best. He's in a lot of pain. He probably feels a lot of pain when he looks at these pictures of the girl that he has a crush on, and he has no idea how to make a move on him. That's on her, sorry. That's very painful, so that's why he's lashing out and calling someone else a douchebag, but it's just because he's in a lot of pain himself. So what could he do about that? He could start to improve himself. He could watch some of our content and join our community. He could go to our forums. He could hit me up for coaching. He could do none of that and just, improve his life for free with all the free content on the internet. And he could go out and talk to other women, or he could even talk to this woman if he really wants to, although I think she's taken with this Eric guy. So he could just go talk to other women. But Andy, not me, is doing his best. From there, Andy, not me, remembers that his friend told him about an internet site called www.hotchickswithdouchebags.com. So I actually clicked on this link. I was like, is this just like a weird URL that good-looking loser made up? Like, surely this isn't real. And it's like, no, this is real. There's like literally a website where they get like pictures of cute girls that are with guys and they just shit talk the guy. They're just like, look at this fucking douchebag. Like, look at this fucking asshole. Look at this. So this is obviously an incredibly reactive website. Like, this is not exactly a productive use of this person's time, is it? And like, if you look at the archives on the left-hand side, most recent post was a year ago. So maybe they stopped posting and they said, hey, this isn't very good use of my time, or it's not building the life that I want. It's not about being a good or a bad productive use of your time. It's more like, is this getting me towards what I want? And maybe what this person wants is to sit around feeling angry and resentful. And so they're very successful with this website. But they started in 2005, so they've been doing this for a long, long time, like 18 years this website has been going, and this is a very reactive website. So maybe rather than like doing something like this where you're reacting to other people, if you wanted to, you could look at these people with very attractive women, and all these guys are very attractive too. So I don't really know what point this website's trying to make, but anyway, you could look at these people and be like, I wonder how they got together. I wonder how I could find a hot woman. I wonder how I could improve myself so that I could get a hot woman or have a hot woman in my life. I wonder how I could make the most of what I've been given, rather than complaining about what other people have or what I don't have. So, yeah. When Andy, not me, was reactively telling his friends about how it was bullshit that he got a bad piece of sushi, He reactively got mad but didn't send it back. Yeah, being proactive would just be like, hey, excuse me, sorry, I don't normally complain, but like this bit of sushi here, it's whatever is wrong with it. Like, would you mind remaking it for me? Like, that would just be really amazing if you wouldn't mind doing that. And they'll be like, yeah, no worries. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'll remake that. And you're like, thanks. That's really awesome of you. I really appreciate that. I really love that you're willing to fix it for me. That's amazing. They bring it back. And because you were so fucking nice to them, maybe they give it to you for free or some shit, or they give you an extra little thing for free, or they give you a free fucking soda or something. And you're like, wow, that's amazing. Thank you. That's really cool of you. Thank you. And they're like, no. Thank you for telling us. We really appreciate it when people proactively tell us if there's a problem so we can fucking fix it instead of reactively just complaining on fucking Yelp or something and giving us a 1-star review without giving us the chance to actually fix it. So that's sort of reactive versus proactive. So Andy, not me, reactively got mad but didn't send it back. Andy, not me, reactively spends 20 minutes to check the website out. He's talking about the douchebag website. Sure enough, lots of hot chicks on there with douchebags. Yeah, like that's what the website's called. There's probably going to be lots of them on there. Now Andy Not Me is running late. Oh well, Andy Not Me reactively decides to skip breakfast and reactively Google Eric Martin, so the guy that is with the girl that he likes, to see if he can find out more about this guy. Yeah, Jesus, don't do that. I mean, unless you were going to be friends with the dude and then be like, bro, I'll be real with you. I'll be completely honest. I have a crush on your girlfriend. I know that's probably fucking weird of me to say, but I want to start being proactive with life. Can you tell me how you got with her? And I'm not trying to fucking take her away from you, but like, I want to improve myself, dude. I'm trying to learn from someone that's obviously decent with women, and that seems to be you. Like, could you teach me something or tell me something? I want to go out and get a girlfriend just like you have, like someone else, but I want to go out and do that. Like, could you teach me if you're willing to? And if you say that to most guys, that's a big fucking ego stroke. And most guys would be like, bro, fuck yeah, man. All right. Do you want to grab a beer, bro? Like, you buy me a beer, bro, and I'll tell you anything I know. I'm not an expert, but I'll tell you everything I know. Like, that would be proactive instead of stalking the fucking guy to shit talk him. Andy Not Me doesn't find anything, but he's still mad that Eric Martin might have let off a large pent-up 3-day load. Jesus Christ. Might have let off a large pent-up 3-day load into the mouth of the girl that Andy Not Me likes this past Saturday night. Andy Not Me was at home Saturday night waiting for text, and he sat there reactively discussing why Whitney Houston's death wasn't a huge tragedy with other reactive people on the internet. Yeah, gossiping and arguing and all of that and debating. Andy Not Me thinks about the girl he likes. What a slut. Yeah, remember before, and again, Andy Not Me is doing his best. But remember what Andy Not Me thought before. Why do all these douchebag guys get these hot chicks? How come hot girls can't get with a nice guy like me? Next minute, she's a fucking slut. Fuck this bitch. And that, to be fair to Andy Not Me, is just coming from a place of pain. He doesn't really mean that she's a slut. He's just angry and upset because he's hurt. And there are lots of men out there like that. Lots of men become incels or they become black pill. And no hate to those people. They're just doing the best that they can. And by the way, if that's you, if you're relating to Andy Not Me, then feel free to leave a comment below. And I promise you I'll write something nice. I won't judge you. And we will try and help you improve yourself and find some, dates and find some success and all of that stuff. And any women listening, maybe you hate men right now and you think men are all douchebags, men are all assholes. I understand that you're hurt. I understand that you have some baggage. You feel free to leave a comment below and we'll give some helpful, non-judgmental advice. I promise. Andy Not Me reactively thinks to him. What does he mean? Oh, sorry, I misread that. What a slut. Andy Not Me thinks to himself, and then he decides to text the girl. Andy Not Me reactively texts, looks like you had a fun weekend. Cute. Very like passive aggressive, yeah. Or he would be saying that in a passive aggressive way. Andy Not Me gets in his car and goes to work and reactively follows commands from his boss that he hates for the next 9 hours. Yeah. And being proactive would be like, okay, I really hate this job. I really hate my boss. Maybe I'm going to work somewhere else where I'm actually happy. Like that would be proactive. Or maybe I'll start a business and I'll just start by earning $1. I don't have to start a business, but I'm going to start earning some money outside of my job. So then maybe I can cut my hours down a little bit and work less. I don't have to work for 9 hours a day. I can get a part-time job and supplement the rest of my income with my own side hustle. Like literally you could go up to strangers on the street right now. I've gotten lots of my coaching clients to do this. Go out onto the street right now, ask 100 people for money, 70 or 50 of them will say yes to you and give you a couple of bucks. And before you know it, in 1 hour, you've made like $30. And you're like, holy fuck, this is more than I get paid, or as much as I get paid at my job. For some of you, that's more than you get paid at your job. Just asking strangers on the street for money. You can get paid more if you actually offer them something. Yo, I'll tell you a joke and you pay me a couple of bucks if you think it was funny or it makes you laugh. Yo, I will draw you a picture. I'll draw you a portrait. If you like it, you give me $5. How does that sound? I'll take a photo of you with my expensive or my great camera, and if you like it, you give me $5. How does that sound? Like, I've had people start a photography business doing that, going up to strangers and cold approaching them and saying, if I take a good photo of you, would you pay me $5? Yeah, okay, why not? Sure, I'll help you out. Or I'd love a photo of me. So that would be more proactive than just going to a job that he really doesn't like and that isn't making him happy. You know, basically this Andy Not Me guy, it sounds like he's living a very unhappy, reactive life, and he's sort of the victim, or he feels like he's the victim, but he could take action, and maybe he doesn't know that. And so if any of you relate to this Andy Not Me guy, you're allowed to take action. You know, it's kind of what my channel is about, giving you permission to take action and do what you want. Since Andy Not Me didn't eat breakfast, he reactively munches down 16 donuts and 5 pastries. Yeah, so he let himself get to the point of desperate hunger, and then he reactively binge ate. Andy Not Me knows that he probably shouldn't have done that. Damn. Later, Andy Not Me comes home, sees a commercial on TV for Domino's new style pizza, and reactively orders it. Yeah, he wasn't thinking about Domino's, but he saw an ad for it, and he's like, fuck it, I'm just going to, do whatever the ad tells me. And there's nothing wrong with seeing an ad and going, oh, I really want that. But in this example, we've already seen that this guy is a little bit, this hypothetical guy. Actually, I think he said it was based on someone real, didn't he? Yeah, inspired by a true story of someone I knew. This guy already kind of has a history of just being reactive to stuff. So this is him just reacting, to the ad. Andy Not Me didn't even get a text back from the girl. Andy Not Me looks at Facebook for the 15th time that day and reactively thinks again, what a slut. Yeah, and he's just in pain. That's why he's saying that. Same as like all the women that say men are assholes. Meanwhile, all the men, especially all of you in my audience, you guys are all such fucking lovely human beings. All of you are like, we're not assholes. Like, maybe you just met someone that wasn't very nice, but that doesn't mean all men are assholes. So we would say the same thing to this Andy Not Me guy. We'd be like, dude, like, women aren't sluts. They're not bitches. Like, she just has a boyfriend, but go out and talk to other women and improve yourself and make yourself someone that women would want to be around, Nothing against this guy, but he doesn't really come across as very attractive or interesting or appealing, does he? Because he's kind of in a lot of pain. And when we're in a lot of pain, it's very hard to be attractive to people because you say things like this and that's not very attractive. Like, what a slut, stupid bitch. Like, that doesn't make someone want to be friends with you or date you. But he's doing his best. That douchebag probably emptied his balls in her mouth. I don't even like the girl anymore, Andy reactively tells himself. Ding dong, doorbell. Pizza arrives. Andy Not Me eats the whole pizza and sits on the couch. Andy Not Me receives a text, immediately reactively runs to his phone, but it's not her. Damn it. Andy Not Me is exhausted and frustrated, so he masturbates to the girl he likes and falls asleep after reactively checking his average fantasy basketball team. Now, this shit is absurd. That's a lousy day. It happens, I guess. The idea is to recognize and minimize these reactive behaviors. Ideally, try to replace them or replace some of them. Start replacing some of them with proactive behaviors, like be more clear and intentional about what you want and do things to make that happen. I play, as in Chris plays, fantasy basketball. I sometimes masturbate if I see a hot tushy, if I don't have a hot chick's mouth to fire my load in. No problem. But that's not the stuff that consumes my mind and day, though. Yeah, so again, to be very clear, you don't have to be perfect with all of this reactive, non-reactive, like reactive, proactive stuff. It's just about being a little bit more intentional with our actions. It's about being a little bit more intentional with what we want, or asking ourselves, what do I actually want? And if you don't know what you want, get out a big piece of paper and just sit there and brainstorm. Be like, what do I want? What would be some nice things to have in my life? What would bring my life meaning? Like, what would be meaningful in my life? You can think of the word meaning or fun or beautiful, or what would bring me joy. There's a woman, Japanese woman, that some of you might know. Her name is Marie Kondo, this nice little Japanese lady. And she's super famous across the world. She does like cleaning videos and stuff like that. But one of her favorite little quotes is, with every little thing, like actions that she's taking in her life, like objects in her house, like everything in her life, she'll say, does this inspire joy? If this brings me joy, if this inspires joy, then I'll keep doing it. If it doesn't, then I'll change it and do something else. And the map of consciousness that I talked about before, again, all of the emotions or the categories of emotions that humans feel, at the very top, look at that, joy, right near the top. That's amazing. And so this beautiful little Japanese lady, she's like, does it inspire joy? If it does, I'll do it. If it doesn't, I won't. And so we're just doing that a little bit more. We're going towards the things that bring us meaning, going towards the things that bring us joy. And if they don't bring meaning or they don't bring joy, then we just change it a little bit, or we start reducing it, or we start doing something that does bring us joy. And if you look at this whole story of this like Andy, not me guy, basically everything here is him just unhappy. He just lives in this unhappy, sort of depressed state where he's angry at other people. He wants this girl, but at the same time, he calls her a slut, and he's just not a very happy chappy. He needs a big hug. I want to give this Andy, not me guy a big hug, but he'd probably call me a douchebag, right? He's going around calling everybody a douchebag, so he'd probably call all of us a douchebag even if we tried to help him. And I've had that sometimes. Someone will leave like a negative YouTube comment, like on this channel. I'll write a really loving, helpful reply. I'll literally say like, is there anything that you'd like from myself or the community to help you like live the life that you want? Like, would you like something from us? I can see that you're in pain because you've yelled at me and you've left this negative comment. You only leave a negative comment when you're unhappy. Would you like something from us? Like, can we help you? And then they just lash out again and they go, you can all go fuck yourself, like blah, blah, blah. That's what happens when we're in pain. And so, yeah, sometimes you want to give someone a hug and they won't even let you do that. And so, we just love that person and we say, they're on their own journey. They're angry. This Andy, not Andy guy, Andy, not me guy is on his own little pathway. Right now, he's really angry. He's got a lot of resentment towards other people, towards men, towards women, clearly towards himself, towards his boss and all of that. That's okay. We just won't spend any time with that person, but we'll love him. We'll have all that love in our heart for him, and we'll just move the fuck on and not have that guy in our life. Maybe one day if he starts being more positive, he can come into our life. But for now, fuck no. So if you ever do meet someone who's like Andy, not me, yeah, I would suggest not having that person in your life or spending minimal time with that person because they will absolutely drag you down, even though they're doing their best. Some of this shit used to, but not so much anymore. In a nutshell, realize your reactive behaviors, eliminate the time wasting, or you could just say like start reducing. You don't have to completely eliminate, but just do a little bit less of the unnecessary reactive behaviors. And how do you know if it's unnecessary? By asking yourself what you want. Like on a big scale, what do I want? What kind of person do I want to be when I'm on my deathbed? Who do I want to be? What are the big goals that I have? Or what would inspire joy in my life? What would bring me meaning? Like, what do I want? And then are these behaviors that I'm doing, are they adding to my life? Are they bringing me towards that joyful, beautiful place? Are they helping me towards my goals? Do I feel fucking happy when I do them? The basic common sense questions. Do I actually feel happy when I do these things? If I feel like shit when I'm on social media, or if I feel like dog shit when I binge eat 3 pizzas, or if I feel like absolute fucking trash when I sit there wishing that this girl would break up with her boyfriend so she could stop being a slut and get with a nice guy like me, if you feel shit when you do that, then maybe that's your body trying to tell you something. It's telling you this isn't the activities that you want to be spending your time on, live proactively, plan out and create your universe. Yeah, I really like that. That's what I just said. Like, what do you want? What would bring you joy? What is meaningful to you, or what might be meaningful to you? Don't worry, you'll still get lots of surprises along the way, and then enjoy. Yeah, beautiful article. Thank you, Mr. Chris from Good Looking Loser. Again, I like to do these videos because this guy absolutely changed my life in so many different ways. I read all of his articles. I watched all of his videos multiple times, and I made sure I took action while I was reading and watching all of his content. But yeah, I have nothing but love in my heart for this beautiful human being called Chris from Good Looking Loser. Look at this happy little good looking hair. There he is. Look at that. It's Chris back in his younger days. Thank you, Mr. Chris. I appreciate all that you did for me. I do these videos, reacting or reading out his old articles because, like I said, I really want to keep some of his old philosophies alive, and he would phrase things totally differently now. In fact, if you go to his YouTube channel, he's done a couple of videos recently, although they might have been put on private right now because he's for his own personal reasons. But he did some videos in the last year and he speaks a lot differently because he's now married with kids and, a little bit less crass. But the philosophies in his articles still hold up today. And I will always be really grateful for all that he gave me, all of the mindset and the permission that he gave me. And I think more than anything, I felt a lot of brotherly love from him. I felt like he was my older brother, and that was the intention. That's what he wanted to do. He said that in a few articles. And I really felt like he cared about me, and he cared about all of us. You know, he wanted us to succeed. He wanted us to win. He wanted us to be happy. And he wanted us to go out and have a positive influence on other men and other women that we were dating. And I will always be really grateful to him for that. And I think more than anything, the feeling that I got from his website and his YouTube channel was everything's okay and everything's going to be okay. Like, you're going to make it, kid. And that's how I felt consuming his content and then also taking action, obviously. And that's what I try and get across with my content. I'm literally trying to get across that same feeling of everything's okay and everything is going to be okay. And I promise to all of you listening, if you just take some action, take some baby steps, and work towards your goals, you're going to make it, kid.